eyes can read. And today, as you can see by this little red hair girl on this bag, why did it take me so long to think of the word bag? We're eating Wendy's. Also, peppermint frosty. I haven't had a frosty for years. I haven't had Wendy's for years. I don't eat out very much. And they have peppermint frosties now, so I guess I'm having that. Anyway, let's just dig in here. Oh yeah, nice spoon. And I'm already getting my hands wet from the frosty melting, but it's okay because we got Snoopy here to help us out. We got some French fries. We got some stray French fries. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Is there no ketchup in here? That's Wendy's. Or is it my fault? Was I supposed to ask for ketchup? I guess I just assume I'm supposed to receive things. Let me go check to see if I have any ketchup in my fridge. Ah, here we are. I knew I had ketchup. But of course, Fairway brand. I can't do the like West Coast rapper fake laugh. The Chronic. If you know what that's a reference to, please comment down below. And oh my god, that's a sad looking sandwich. I just got the chicken sandwich, the spicy chicken sandwich. That looks sad. Aw. Wendy, why? But, okay. It's what I got. Maybe the frosty will help us feel better. And speaking of feeling better, I haven't even brought up what the topic of our video is today. Because that'll definitely make everybody feel better. It's Machiavellianism. Machiavelli. Niccolo Machiavelli, to be exact. Ooh. Spoonage. Yeah. Let's take a quick bite of this. Oh god, it's already almost just milk. Yeah, that's fine. That's good. I gotta start living closer to these places so they don't just die out by the time I get them. But anyway, we're going to be talking about Niccolo Machiavelli today. Actually, before that, we're going to talk about the real Machiavelli. That is Tupac Machiavelli the Don. Spelled wrong, of course, because he don't give a shit. Best track on here is probably Blasphemy's really good, yeah. Hail Mary's probably his best, but I like Blasphemy a lot. Tupac Machiavelli. He didn't write a book. Maybe he did write. He wrote a few screenplays. Check out my Tupac videos somewhere. But the real Machiavelli is Niccolo Machiavelli, author of The Prince and other writings, as you'll see. And I'll get to him in just a few moments, but I've been thinking around too much. I want to start eating some food. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, ketchup time. We'll see if these fries are just as subpar as their sandwich looks. we get a room temperature count? Yeah. Wendy's, what are you doing to me? Granted, it may be my fault. Now that I've moved, the only place I live like kind of near to is a Burger King. So I mean, if you're fine just getting all Burger King videos, hey, let me know. Yeah, these fries are dismal. Nice. But it's not about the fries, it's about the chicken sandwich. And let me quick tuck in my little ropes so I can eat it in peace. The Wendy's allegedly spicy, allegedly chicken, allegedly sandwich. Spicy chicken sandwich. Let's give her a try. Wendy's, please. How did I love you so much as a kid? The lettuce is flimsy. The mayo's bland. Barely any spice. Approaching room temperature, but not quite there. Was it because they have an actual sandwich and like meal this time, basically? When I was a kid, well, for starters, when I was like a toddler, I'm old enough to have had the Wendy's like a salad bar back when that was a thing. But when that stopped, I'd always have like a baked potato and chili, big old bowl of Wendy's chili. Baked potato and chili, and I was considering getting that this time, but I was like, oh god, everyone will make fun of me on the internet, and I was afraid of being made fun of because I'm not very confident. But maybe I should have done that. Actually, was it even on the menu? Does Wendy's even offer that anymore? I didn't even check. I kind of just went for like the straight and narrow meal, the mainstream Wendy's experience. I do like the Frosties though. And their Frosty machines are never broken like McDonald's, you know. Shots fired at McDonald's. And what are these fries? Oh my, oh. And am I just an elitist? Is that it? Am I just a jerk? I mean, yes, but do I ask too much of my fast food restaurants? I mean, sure, I'm a chef, so I might have like high standards, but let's be real, I'm not like, I don't really have that high standards. Look where I work, I mean, come on. So for starters, for those who don't know, and for those who haven't played Assassin's Creed 2, about Renaissance Italy, Niccolo Machiavelli was like this sort of political figure in Renaissance Italy. And his ideas, his ideology, is the way he went about doing things, to some is kind of nefarious, but to others is very pragmatic and just symbolic of the times. It's not even like a carbonated drink. Why frosty? Why? But it's very kind of open to interpretation. If you think Machiavelli is a good or a bad guy, to me he's kind of an anti-hero. And we'll get into that why, get into the reasons why here. But he's kind of the definition of, the ends justify the means, where he would keep control and have a lot of political power, but the ways in which he accomplished that are kind of shady. But of course he, goes to justify that through his writings, namely a book called The Prince, essentially a guide on how to be a prince, how to be a ruler. And I just wanted to, as per usual, read 3 little excerpts from here, and I'll ask you what you think, and I'll kind of explain what I think from them as I suffer over my Wendy's meal. Let's flip to my first little thing. All right. So in chapter 15, on the things for which men, and especially princes, are praised or blamed, he mentions, and many have imagined republics and principalities for themselves which have never been seen or known to exist in reality, for the distance is so great between how we live and how we ought to live, that he who abandons what is done for what ought to be done learns his ruin rather than his preservation. Because a man who wants to make a profession of goodness in everything is bound to come to ruin among so many who are not good. Therefore, it is necessary for a prince, if he wants to preserve himself, to learn how not to be good, and how to use this knowledge, and not use it as necessity dictates. Machiavelli, Tupac, I see what you're putting down here. I'm going to pick up this chicken sandwich and then put it down and explain what I think Machiavelli is putting down. Maybe this is just me being really picky. But look how thin that chicken is. That chicken patty. It's like it's barely there, It's just so processed to me. It feels like, when I had the Burger King, it's like it's a thicker piece, a fuller piece, I felt. Have I done Chick-fil-A or Freddy's or... No, I don't think so. I'll get some more chicken sandwiches on the way, I'm sure. I'm more partial to chicken sandwiches than burgers. Burgers make me feel yucky inside. But what I think Machiavelli was trying to say there is that you can only be a quote-unquote good person insofar as your situation allows you to be a good person. He said, yes, what ought to be done versus what is done. And yeah, what ought to be done is everybody is fair and everyone is honest and everyone, is a buddy and treats each other with respect and care. But that's not the way the world really works, right? That's just this overabundant idealism that makes us think that, our fellow man is always going to be there for us. And what Machiavelli is saying is, yes, that's a great idea, a great aspiration, but that's not reality. And the reality of the situation is, if you have all these assholes, basically, surrounding you, or even a few assholes, they're going to take advantage of you, and they're going to bully you and manipulate you, and they're going to, seize your principality, your area. They're going to take your power. And if you just are too nice and a pushover and let yourself be stepped on, then you're going to get screwed. And he's basically advocating to allow that, not to be totally corrupted, but to allow yourself to have those characteristics of, sort of bad guys, those characteristics of the assholes. That way, you can fight assholism with assholism, and you can protect yourself and your people by not necessarily fighting fire with fire, but realizing that the world is a cruel and hard and cold place, and that you have to become kind of hard and cold yourself to combat the evil forces around you. It's not a glamorous life, but it's a life you have to lead. Kind of like eating room temperature fries. It's not a glamorous life, but it's a life I have to lead on YouTube here. Oh yeah. I'm gonna be able to just drink this thing straight pretty soon. Alright, next passage. Next dog here. This is in chapter 17, on cruelty and mercy and whether it is better to be feared or loved, or the contrary. It is much safer to be feared than to be loved, if one of the two has to be lacking. For this can be said of men in general, that they are ungrateful, fickle, hypocrites, and dissemblers, avoiders of dangers, greedy for gain, and while you benefit them, they are entirely yours, offering you their blood, their goods, their life, their children, as I said above, when need is far away, but when you actually become needy, they turn away. And the prince, who has made their world his entire foundation, finding himself stripped of other preparations, will be ruined, for friendships which are acquired for a price, and not through grandeur or nobility of spirit, are bought, but are not truly owned, and when the time arrives, they cannot be spent. And men have less hesitation about offending one who makes himself loved than one who makes himself feared, for love is held together by a chain of obligation which because men are sadly wicked, is broken at every opportunity to serve their self-interest, but fear is maintained by a dread of punishment which never abandons you. Nevertheless, a prince must make himself feared in such a way that if he does not gain love, he does avoid hatred. For to be feared and not to be hated can go very well together, and this he will always achieve if he does not touch the goods and the women of his citizens and subjects. And when he is obliged to shed someone's blood, he should do so when there is a proper justification and manifest cause. But above all, he must abstain from taking the property of others, for men sooner forget the death of their father than the loss of their patrimony. Besides, reasons for taking property are never lacking, and he who begins to live by stealing always finds a reason for taking what belongs to others, whereas reasons for shedding blood are rarer and are exhausted sooner. Aye, that's a doozy right there. So basically, Machiavelli is asking, is it better to be feared or loved? And a traditional politic. Yeah, what the heck was that? Where did that spice come from? I just sucked it straight down my throat with the, oh god, whatever that was. Oh, Jesus. That was rough. Maybe Machiavelli is haunting me throughout the grave, from the grave. Oh god, I just wiped myself with mayonnaise. Anyway, a traditional politician or like a populist politician would probably just say, oh, of course it's better to be loved. Because that way you have the adoration of your people and everyone will, big happy family team, yeah, woohoo. But Machiavelli, some might call him jaded or pessimistic, but I guess to me he's realistic because he says, well, I'd rather be hated. Oh, I'd rather be feared, not hated. I'd rather be feared because love from your people only gets you so far as they will continue to help you so long as they get benefit. Because love is sort of built on this, in a social, political space, it's built on mutual benefit. But at the point where you, the government, the ruler, you are in need, and you need help, and the people don't really benefit from it, well, they're not going to help you because Machiavelli's quote-unquote jaded worldview says that people wouldn't help you for that. People would basically pounce on you while you're weak. They'd take over. Thus, he wants to be feared instead. Because with fear, it's not on this foundation of mutual benefit, mutual love. It's on the idea of, okay, regardless of if my government benefits or gets worse, if I mess around with them, I'm going to get worse. They're going to punish me. I'm going to be personally attacked. And at that point, you are reaching the individual's, the people's core, mental state of trying to avoid pain and punishment. And, I'd say, oh, you don't want to go to jail, but, let's be real, back in Renaissance Italy, they were doing a lot more than sending people to jail. You were getting, very, very inventive forms of torture were around back then. And if you have this vision of pain, this sort of ominous cloud of impending doom over you if you disobey, that's going to be stronger than, hey, let's be chummy all the time. Because like Machiavelli says, it basically goes down to the individual human being like self-centered. But you never want to cross that threshold into hatred, because if someone hates you and their hate outweighs their fear, then at that point they'll risk it and they'll try to overthrow you. Essentially, they'll try to say, hey, it's worth the risk. Let's get rid of this guy forever, get rid of this prince forever, and let's overthrow him so we don't have to be afraid anymore. And that's the sort of dangerous game of, you can, like he said, you can justify wars and battles because those can be, let's be honest, let's look at today's world. There's always wars and violence going on. But if, if you start taking people's property, if you start taking, like the women and children, then you're going to get in trouble. And people will start to resent you, and then you're going to have, someone usurping your throne or any kind of uprising that would not be very good. Is that a good sound for you guys? Me slurping the remains of peppermint flavored cream. And one malt powder too, maybe. Anyway, one last section. All right. Okay. How princes must keep their word, chapter 18. You must know, then, that there are two methods of fighting, one with laws and the other with force. The first one is proper to man, the second to beasts. But because the first one often does not suffice, one has to recourse to the second. Therefore, it is necessary for a prince to know how well to use the beast and the man. This procedure was taught to princes allegorically by ancient writers, who relate how Achilles and many other ancient princes were given to Chiron the centaur to be reared so that he might train them in his discipline. Having for a teacher one who is half beast and half man means nothing other than that a prince must know how to use both natures, and that one without the other cannot endure. Since a prince must know well how to use the nature of the beast, he must choose the fox and the lion from among them. For the lion cannot defend himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. It is therefore necessary to be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten the wolves. Those who live simply by the lion do not understand this. Therefore, a prudent ruler must not keep his word when keeping it would work against him, and when the reasons which made him promise it have been removed. And if men were all good, this precept would not be good. But since they are sadly wicked, and would not keep their word to you, you also do not have to keep it to them. Nor does a prince ever lack reasons to color over his failure to keep it. Of this one could furnish countless modern examples to show how many peace treaties, how many promises have been rendered null and void by the disloyalty of princes, and how the one who has known best how to use the fox has turned out best. But it is necessary to be able to color over this character well, and to be a great hypocrite and dissembler. And men are so simple, and so obedient to present necessities, that he who deceives will always find someone who will let himself be deceived. That kind of reminds me of the phrase, there's a sucker born every minute. Or like, if any of you out there like play the stock market, there are those old adages of like, yeah, you can buy stuff and you can buy stuff unreasonably, it's okay, because there's always going to be someone stupider than you who will buy it at a higher price than you. You'll always be able to sell it. Unless there's, a cataclysmic crash. But this kind of goes back into Machiavelli's core philosophy, I think, of allowing oneself to have pieces of evil in order to be a better, greater ruler. Because he says, yeah, you should forget your word. You should be treacherous if it benefits you and if, the original deal would kind of screw you over. Because ultimately, the other side would screw you too if they had the chance. And they're not going to let their morals get in the way. Kind of like a golden rule of, people always say, treat others, do unto others how you want them to do unto you. Well, if you've watched the 2004 Van Helsing movie with Hugh Jackman, you would know that Igor says his golden rule is do unto others before they do unto you. And it may sound really sad and depressing, but you kind of do have to be realistic that some people will take advantage of you. And if you don't take advantage of them, then you're going to get screwed. And not only you, but your family, your subjects, your coworkers, your friends. If people are relying on you, you have to be cold and hard and cruel to survive in this world. Is what he's saying. Who knows what M. Price truly believes? I do believe that this Frosty is pretty good and the highlight of this meal. Well, not highlight, but only light. And how Machiavelli goes on to say that if you break your word, it's fine, because invariably they'll just fall for your fox-like deceptions again. They'll fall back into your hands again. People are easy to forget and easy to trust, essentially is what he's saying. And you can be as nefarious and underhanded as you want, because as long as you're surviving. And as long as you can squash anyone who hates you enough to try to, form a coup, you'll be okay. And you can look into a lot of governments around the world. Do you think they're feared or hated? Or loved? What's the weight of the fear and the love? What's the weight of the fear and the hatred? In what countries do their people rebel? Because we've had a lot these past few years. And then, better yet, what governments around the world have fooled and deceived and tricked their citizens? And then a few years later, they trick them again and again and again. I know similar things have happened in my country, where it's like people seem to fall for the same old tricks, new person, same mistakes kind of thing. Or they always seem to advertise themselves as, oh, we're going to do it different this time, we're going to change things this time, we're going to be better this time, and it's always just the same old problems. But look how easily people forget, and look how easily people buy into the next, the next Machiavelli. So do you think that survival warrants dishonor? Do you think the ends justify the means like Machiavelli seems to think? As illustrated in The Prince. Let me know what you think. Or don't. Or let me know what you think about Wendy's. Or the new lighting I'm trying. Well, it's just my regular light. I kind of want to get some fancier lights to try to make a better backdrop, but we'll see. Thanks, Snoopy. Well, I think that's about it for today's video. Like I said, let me know what you think about old Niccolo. And if you think he's smart or a piece of shit. And until next time, I have been M. Price, and this has been M. Price Can Eat, a subsidiary company of M. Price Can Read. As you know, Dog City never sleeps, and I hope that you may sleep now.